Part 33. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 321. Will there be no space passage in the earthly immortal realm? The Lord of the everlasting city felt something in his heart, as if he had guessed something. Could it be that Master Tianji wants to integrate the earthly immortal realm into the Tianyuan realm? This possibility cannot be ruled out. Hongxian nodded. In this way, Tianyuan realm is probably. The city lord of everlasting city was silent. He had already felt the changes that had taken place in the two worlds when the Zixuan realm and the Tianyuan realm merged. The world level had jumped and could now accommodate the existence of true immortals. If his lifespan had not expired, he would have been able to walk in the Tianyuan realm now. If the earthly immortal realm is merging, no one can say how far the Tianyuan world will evolve. Maybe beings above true immortals can be born. After all, the original world level of the earthly immortal realm is not low, surpassing the Tianyuan realm by a lot. Looking at all the worlds in the world, it is definitely not the world at the bottom. There are true immortals among them. After the two worlds merge, conflicts may break out in a short period of time. But in the long run, this is a good thing that is beneficial and harmless. If the creatures in the earthly immortal world knew about it, I'm afraid they would shed tears of gratitude. After all, this is the owner of Tianji, giving them a chance to go further. Master Tianji, this is a big game of chess. In the eternal city of Tianhuang, runes flashed, and a vague figure stood in the void. He stood quietly, looking at the Tianyuan world. The whole body was filled with brilliance, and there was a grand atmosphere that suppressed the sky. Faintly, there were sacrifices. The sound, and the image of thousands of people kowtowing, appeared. It was very magical. The eyes spanned the entire Tianyuan world, and finally stopped 100,000 miles away from Dawang City. This was already the limit. After taking a step forward, we reached the scope of Dawang City. Within, if a true immortal rashly spies into the great wilderness city, he cannot guarantee that the owner of the Tianji Tower will be angry. If he touches the taboos of the Tianji Tower, his everlasting city may be wiped out in a matter of seconds. Even if there is, it's not okay to sit in charge by yourself. The city lord means that the senior poster wants to smelt all the heavens and worlds into one body. Hongxian was shocked and expressed his guess. Even Hongxian found it a little unbelievable. If it were just worlds like Tianyuan world and Zixuan world. After all, this kind of world very weak. These worlds in the chaos are like the sand of the Ganges, countless. New worlds are born every day. There are also worlds that are dying. Let alone smelting one or two. Even if you take away a few worlds, you can refine them at will. No one said much about making a weapon. Anyway, in a powerful world, there are many people who do this. In their eyes, they are either living beings in this world or ants. Who else can be refining a group of ants? Dare to point fingers. But that's not what the current owner of Tianji is doing. He has already started working on the earthly fairy world. What about the future? Do you really want to create a supreme world? If he really does this, then his strength must be carefully evaluated. I tested it. After all, a true immortal can't pry the earthly immortal world away. He has to be at least one level higher. If you want to create a supreme world, the strength required is beyond imagination. Because, even if it is unimaginable, the records of the eternal city have never touched upon such a realm. First the Zixuan realm, and then the earthly immortal realm. It is not difficult to guess the purpose of the Master Tianji. Over the everlasting city. That phantom, with its deep eyes and terrifying pressure, crowded every corner, making countless creatures in the city feel their souls tremble and tremble. If this is the case, why should we sacrifice the near for the far? As soon as these words came out, An astonishing brilliance bloomed in his eyes. There were billions of symbols rising and falling in them. An extremely sharp momentum rose into the night and cut the chaos in half. There is a kind of power that dominates the universe. Majesty. Even if he is a true immortal in his twilight years, his power is still terrifying and makes people breathless. The city lord is wise. Hongxian knelt down on one knee and complimented. If the senior master of Tianji building is as they guessed, Tianhuangbilao city can indeed take a ride. He doesn't have to go anywhere. He just needs to stay in Tianyuan world. The future will be it can grow into a behemoth. When Tianyuan world is completely formed, Tianhuang eternal city may not be able to rise with it. At that time, even when facing some supreme worlds, they will have the confidence to be on an equal footing. Hongxian, the Lord of the everlasting city, spoke. The subordinates are here. Hongxian looked solemn and said in a deep voice. You go to the Tianyuan realm again and go to the Tianji tower. No matter how much it costs, you have to ask clearly whether the earthly immortal realm will merge with the Tianyuan realm. Better to find out the time. The Lord of the everlasting city has piercing eyes, piercing through the universe, exuding supreme majesty, and moving his hands and feet as if an immortal king has been resurrected. The earthly immortal world is a world where true immortals can exist. In this world, there may be someone who can help. The magical elixir to extend the life of a true immortal exists. Before, the everlasting city could go to other worlds, but they did not go. In the final analysis, they went to other worlds, but there was no Tianji tower. At that time, they were deaf and blind. If you are not careful, you will provoke a powerful enemy. But now that the earthly immortal realm has been integrated into the Tianyuan realm, the situation is different. When the creatures in the earthly immortal realm covet other worlds, little do they know that there are also supreme beings who are interested in the resources in the earthly immortal realm. Subordinates obey. Hongxian bowed and accepted the order. At the same time, the zombie emperor was suppressed. The cracked void in the Tianyuan world returned to its former glory. While countless people breathed a sigh of relief, they became excited in their hearts. A doomsday catastrophe was easily wiped out after the owner of the Tianji building came forward. Anyone else would be deeply moved. Especially, the master of Tianji is still sitting in the Tianyuan world, which also makes the creatures in the Tianyuan world feel proud. The word Tianyuan has the central meaning in the chessboard. Now that Tianji Tower exists, the word Tianyuan becomes more and more worthy of its name. Now, the deserted city. It was already overcrowded. When the zombie emperor appeared, many cultivators surged over. The world was about to be destroyed. Apart from the great desert city, they could no longer think of a second safe place. At this time, more than 70% of the top monks in the entire Tianyuan world were gathered near Dawang city. There are a lot of saints and even sages. As for the great saint-level figures, they can be seen everywhere. Occasionally, if you are lucky, you can see the quasi-emperor walking in the city. Fortunately the senior poster came forward, otherwise the Tianyuan world would really be destroyed. The space was frozen just now. I thought I was going to die. Are you stupid? The one who lives in the void is the master of Tianji. Why is he interested in killing an ant like you? That's what I said, but I don't know who the person who wants to destroy Tianyuan world is. If I see him, I must crush him to ashes. Haha, a supreme being that can destroy a world is something you and I can provoke. To be honest with you fellow Taoists, I have a little tidbit here. It is said that the supreme being who intends to destroy the Tianyuan realm comes from the blood demon realm. The world of blood demons. As soon as these three words came out, the scene suddenly became silent. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 322. Taoist friends can eat randomly, but they can't talk nonsense. A saint-level figure said in a deep voice. Many people in the blood demon world still know that that world invaded the Tianyuan world twice, but was defeated both times. Such a weak world can also destroy the Tianyuan world? Isn't this a joke? Absolutely true. The person who spoke just now vowed the person who told me the news is a minister of the Tianyan dynasty. He has met Shang Duxing, who is ranked second on the emperor list. These words came from the mouth of a quasi-emperor, how could they be false? It is said. The person who spoke glanced around, lowered his voice a lot, and said slowly the blood demon realm is gone, and it was completely destroyed by a person named the Burying Emperor. Shang Duxing was the only one who escaped. How could he be an ordinary person who could destroy the blood demon realm? Hear this. Many people were silent. This matter has not been confirmed by Tianji Tower, and the authenticity needs to be verified. Many people are unwilling to believe it, but this person has a nose and an eye. Even if you don't believe it, you can't help but believe it now. The invincible emperor in the world was supposed to have a glorious life, but he was suppressed as soon as he arrived in the Tianyuan world. It must be said that life is like a play. No one knows what will happen next second. Estimate. Even if he beat the Burying Emperor to death, he would never have imagined that he would lose so quickly and miserably in the Tianyuan world, without even the slightest strength to fight back. Zixuan Realm. In a vast star field, thousands of stars shine, casting billions of starlight, submerging the palace below, turning it into an out-of-this-world heavenly palace with a majestic atmosphere. In the middle. In a palace that is 10,000 feet tall. What do you two think? Emperor Mon spoke first, his voice sounded like gold and iron, with an indescribable majesty. As expected. The eyes of Emperor Tiankai opened and closed, and his voice was cold and without any emotion. It echoed in the universe. The wisps of sword intent almost condensed into substance. The sharp edge was revealed. The entire universe seemed to be split open by his sword. Fellow deist Tiankai coincides with me. The Emperor of Thailand nodded. He sat in the middle, like an emperor of heaven, suppressing billions of miles, with a grand momentum in every move, and golden light flowing from his body. There were sounds of worship from all the people, echoing in the hall. The last time the true immortal heritage was born, the three of us had already been to the Tianyuan realm, and even entered the Tianji Tower. The two of us should have a good idea of the strength of the owner of the Tianji Tower. The Emperor of Thailand said softly. He tapped his fingers on the table. He wore an imperial crown on his head, with billions of divine lights hanging down from it. It was very blurry, making it impossible to see through his true expression, let alone what he was thinking. In my opinion, the emperor who invaded Tianyuan realm is already infinitely close to the fairyland. And the strength of the owner of Tianji Tower may have already surpassed that of fairyland. Not only that. The Emperor Tiankai groaned, his hair was like a knife, flying everywhere, one hand slowly went deep into the void, and the space in front of him suddenly shattered inch by inch. Like a mirror, it turned into countless pieces. What do you mean, fellow Taoist? Emperor Mon frowned, a little confused. The owner of Tianji is also good at the art of space. The Emperor Tiankai said softly. If time does not come out, space is king. This is a common saying, and many practitioners are just joking. After all, there is no high or low in the 3,000 avenues. If you practice to the extreme, you will have the terrifying power to change the world. The rules are all they are at the same level. There is no strength or weakness. Those who are strong or weak are just cultivators. However, since this sentence exists, it has a certain truth. The way of space and the way of time are notoriously difficult to cultivate, let alone I have mastered it. Even if I only know a little bit about it, I can sweep through the same level. If I can fully understand it, it can be said that if you look at all the worlds, there are only a handful of people standing at the top. But before, the master of Tianji was very generous. Fang De showed that he was proficient in the art of space, and he could freeze the void in the Tianyuan world with a wave of his hand. This move shocked countless people. Tianyuan realm is really... Emperor Tai pondered for a moment, sighed quietly, and said softly, it's really enviable. With such a terrifying figure sitting in charge, there is no need to worry about anything in the future. As long as the owner of Tianji is not angered, it can be said that the Tianyuan world will not be the same in the future. Any crisis occurs. King of Thailand. Emperor Mo. Yuan's brows were still furrowed. With a trace of worry in his heart, he said softly, what do you think of the war in the border wilderness? The Emperor Tai heard the words. For a moment, there was no answer. Now most of the creatures in the Zixuan realm are testing the edges. They can't figure out the temper of the Master Tianji, for fear of causing catastrophe to the Zixuan realm. Fortunately, the Master Tianji currently has there were signs of intervening in the war between the two realms. This made the emperors of Zixuan realm breathe a sigh of relief. The Zixuan realm has merged with the Tianyuan realm. I think that the senior Tianji building master will be able to balance everything. After all, it is not good for a transcendent existence like the Tianji building master to favor either side. The Emperor Tai's voice rumbled. When he spoke, the entire sky was shining with the might, and countless stars were shining together, like an ancient god issuing a will. Emperor Moun and Emperor Tiankai saw this scene. Neither of them say more. They understood that the Emperor Tai's words were not meant for them to hear. They were meant for the omniscient senior Tianji Luzu to hear. It was hard to say whether the three of them were talking here. I know. Rather than being secretive, it's better to show it openly. Anyway, I can't resist. It is the wisest choice to just lie down and follow all the instructions of the Master of Tianji. If Li Yun learns everything here, I'm afraid it makes me laugh and cry. He really has no time to spare and often listens to others. As for the war between Tianyuan realm and Zixuan realm, he is too lazy to care about it. A world of stagnant water is not what he wants. There was a pause. There was no sound, as if the owner of Tianji didn't hear what he just said. Emperor Moun showed an expected expression. If an existence like the Master of Tianji is in the mood to respond to the three of them, then there is something wrong. If you really respond, doesn't this mean that the owner of Tianji Tower is eavesdropping on their corners all the time? In case word gets out, does the owner of Tianji have no face? In the Tianyuan world, except for the senior Tianji building master, there is no one else to worry about. However, a few days ago, I found a strange treasure in the hands of the creatures in the earthly immortal world. Emperor Moun was talking eloquently. He moved his palm, and an ancient mirror appeared in his palm. The light on it shone and was filled with an ancient meaning, as if it had experienced hundreds of millions of years. This is a rare treasure with no hierarchy. It's different, but it's very mysterious. Symbols burst out from it and merge into the void. It's as if some scary figure is pointing the way. A thing from the earthly immortal world. The Emperor Tiankai's pupils shrank and he said solemnly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 323. Good. Emperor Moun nodded. This thing really did come from a creature from the earthly immortal world. Interesting. The Emperor Tai looked over, with an interesting look flashing in his eyes. They were not curious about where this ancient mirror came from. Emperor Moun was also a great emperor after all. Even if he didn't take action, if his men were killed, if there are any good things for the creatures in the earth immortal world, they will naturally be offered to him as soon as possible. Moreover, During this period, many people died in the Earth immortal world. It is reasonable for an ancient mirror to fall into the hands of Emperor Mon. The only thing that made them curious was the use of this ancient mirror. Although they had never seen it before, they roughly guessed it as soon as they saw it. It seemed that it was a rare treasure that could lead the way. Even its possible, cross-border guidance. The meaning of this ancient mirror's existence may be to guide the creatures in the earthly and immortal world. This thing should be destroyed as soon as possible. The Emperor Tiankai said in a deep voice. The Earth immortal realm is not an ordinary world. If the other party crosses over, it will be a catastrophe, which is not something that a creature from the blood demon realm can compare to. The Zhangtian Emperor who appeared in the Tianyuan realm, although it is infinitely close to a true immortal, it is not an immortal after all. But the earthly immortal world is different. There may really be immortals. If an immortal takes action, the Zixuan realm has no power to resist. There is no Tianji Tower in their world. The senior master of Tianji Tower will, in order to stand out in the Tianyuan world, each of them is unsure whether they will stand on the side of the Zixuan world. If the master of Tianji lets it go, the Zixuan world may become the back garden of the earthly immortal world in the future. It's too late. Emperor Mon shook his head. He threw his palm, and the ancient mirror turned into a stream of light, soared into the sky, and suspended in the sky. Then Emperor Mon snapped his fingers, and a wisp of black light exploded, and the terrifying power swept through the 8 wastelands. Sonorous. The black light collided with the ancient mirror and made a trembling sound. The surrounding void was full of cracks at this moment, and then fell apart, and a large space exploded. On the other hand, the ancient mirror was not damaged at all, and it was suspended there quietly, suppressing the 4 extremes of heaven and earth. Moreover, this ancient mirror was not made by a great emperor and could not be damaged by ordinary people. Emperor Mon said helplessly. This. Emperor Tai and Emperor Tiankai looked at each other, both seeing the shock in each other's eyes. A rare treasure, although it is not an imperial weapon, its material seems to be unique to the earthly immortal world, and it is foreseeable that even the emperor cannot damage it. The origin of this ancient mirror is also extraordinary. As long as this ancient mirror exists, it will continue to point the way for the creatures in the earthly immortal world. One day in the future, the creatures in the earthly immortal world will open the space channel again. The Zixuan realm is afraid that a disaster is coming. The Emperor Tai's face didn't look good. He glanced at the ancient mirror, and then looked at Mon. His expression under the crown was uncertain. The strength of this ancient mirror should not be underestimated, and now that the ancient mirror has fallen into the hands of Emperor Mon, it is self-evident what happened to its original owner. If the true owner of this mirror came over, he would definitely settle the matter with the Zixuan realm. At that time, they had counting each one, they probably won't be able to escape. Don't be too pessimistic. Emperor Mon put away the ancient mirror, pondered for a moment, and then said, in the Zixuan realm, there are forces with imperial soldiers. Not all ancestors have given birth to great emperors, and the same is true for this ancient mirror. These words. He said it very clearly. There may be some forces that are lucky enough to receive the inheritance of a supreme figure. Although there has never been a great emperor, the forces that have risen based on the foundation left by a great emperor, it's not impossible. Maybe. The power behind this ancient mirror is like this. Ah! Emperor! Tai sneered and said in a cold voice, once the space channel is opened, do you think there is only one force coming from the earthly immortal realm? During this period, the number of fallen creatures in the earthly immortal world is unknown. I heard that the forces under your command in the Mon Imperial Palace are still hunting down other creatures in the immortal world. I might as well tell you, if the trouble you cause is too big and eventually affects the entire Zixuan realm, don't blame me for not being kind to you in the past. Emperor Moun's expression changed. He was also beating a drum in his heart and said uncertainly, even if the earthly immortal realm comes over, it can't be too fast. Hope so. The Thai emperor said angrily. At the same time, the deserted city. Inside the Tianji building, Li Yun's spiritual thought returned, and after bringing the burial emperor back to the building, he turned into a stream of light and disappeared. At this time, the burial emperor's eyes were tightly closed, his energy and blood were dormant, and his entire body, including his 5 senses, were sealed. He stood like a sculpture in the Tianji Tower, completely unaware of everything happening in the outside world. It would be a pity for a half-step true immortal to die like this. Li Yun stood up, walked to the emperor zombie, looked up and down, and seemed to have thought of something in his mind. He waved his sleeves and put the emperor directly upstairs. Upstairs, there is another layer of mysterious space. Unpredictable, with endless power, storing a burial emperor is nothing. Senior. Shang Duxing's face was excited, and there was evil in his eyes. The moment he saw Emperor Zhang Tian, he wanted to take action, but before he could take action, Emperor Zhang Tian's body suddenly disappeared into the Tianji Tower. There was no trace of anything else. Traces. This scene made him confused. He didn't understand what the senior poster was going to do. Are you going to kill him? Li Yun said indifferently. Senior, this person is inhumane. He personally destroyed the world of blood demons and buried a whole world of creatures, causing a loss of life and corpses everywhere. If he is not killed, there will be endless troubles. Shang Duxing said quickly, with endless anger in his words. When he saw the zombie emperor again, everything that happened in the blood demon realm that day seemed to have changed again in front of him. Even his quasi-emperor level state of mind couldn't help it. Keep calm. This is a matter for your blood demon world. Li Yun waved his hand and said casually. Ah! Shang Duxing was startled, staggered, and took a step back, with a look of astonishment on his face, and murmured, Senior, what does it mean? Isn't it clear enough what Senior means? The leader of the Golden Crow clan glanced at Shang Duxing and said calmly, the matters in your blood demon realm need to be solved by you personally. Is it possible that you need seniors to help you? This. Shang was alone and speechless. I just wanted to solve it myself. But Senior doesn't allow it. Senior poster, you definitely don't want me to defeat the zombie emperor personally, right? This is a bit of a joke. Not to mention the strength of the quasi-emperor, even if he becomes the great emperor, I am afraid that he will not be a match for the burial emperor. The senior poster can easily defeat the opponent. But it doesn't mean that others can do it too. Good. Li Yun looked at Shang Duxing, with a half-smiling expression on his face, and said, it's just as you thought. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 324. When Shang Duxing heard this, his eyes widened with a look of disbelief. Could the senior be joking? Shang Duxing was confused. If he was the opponent of the burying emperor, why would he end up living in the Tianyuan world? More importantly, listen. Does the senior mean that he does not intend to kill the burial emperor? This is an extremely terrifying figure. If he walks out of the Tianji Tower again, no one can guarantee how much havoc he will cause, and it will probably be another disaster. The senior can know the past and the future, and can also calculate the secrets of heaven. Based on the strength of the senior, he already knows that the burial emperor is a disaster. If he is lucky enough to survive. Shang Duxing was cautious in his words and actions, carefully looked at Li Yun's face, and kept thinking about his next words. In the Tianyuan world, maybe there is a senior poster sitting in charge, so he can be safe, but if he leaves the Tianyuan world, then all the worlds will probably be next to me, the leader of the Golden Crow clan sneered and said, "What? The Blood Demon clan's own world is gone, and now they start to worry about all the worlds. You worry too much." Normally, the Golden Crow clan leader wouldn't have the guts to speak like this to a quasi-emperor. But it's different now. This is TNG Tower, and the senior owner has the final say in everything. There is no difference between a saint and a quasi-emperor in the eyes of the senior owner. It's just an ant. Moreover, Shang Duxing is alone, and there is no world behind him. In other words, he can never go back to the Blood Demon realm and can only stay in the Tianyuan realm. If he offends his Golden Crow clan, even if he becomes the emperor, no matter how great the hope is, it will turn into running water. After all, the Golden Crow clan has an emperor who is in charge. Now, Emperor Zhang Tian has been suppressed. If the senior poster kills him, then naturally it is best. Even if he doesn't kill him, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Emperor Zhang Tian the emperor does not dare to cause trouble in the Tianyuan world anymore. If the senior poster releases the burying emperor and runs to other worlds, it will have little to do with the Tianyuan world. Whether other worlds are destroyed or not, what does it have to do with the Tianyuan world? Good. Yekong also stood up, and he said calmly, "Seniors have deduced the secrets of heaven, and naturally they have seen through the past, present and future, and left the burial emperor behind, so they naturally have their considerations. Where is your room for comment?" The two fellow Taoists are right. Clan leader Lin nodded in agreement. Shang Duxing looked ugly. He didn't expect that his words would be resisted by the clan leaders of the three major forces in the Tianyuan world. "Senior." Shang Duxing spoke again. He was about to say something, but before he could say anything, he was interrupted by Li Yun with a wave of his hand. "All right. Li." Yun raised one hand, waved it casually, and said, "You all, please step back." The juniors resigned. Yekong and the other three bowed their hands slightly, bowed, and then turned and left. Now, the Blood Demon world has been destroyed, and the Blood Demon clan no longer has anyone to carry the cauldron. The hatred between them and the Blood Demon clan has naturally disappeared. No more worries. This trip to TNG Tower can be said to have fulfilled what I wanted. On the other hand, Shang Duxing had a look of hesitation on his face. As long as the burying emperor was not dead, he would not be able to let go. He was not only "I am worried about the Blood Demon realm, and I am still worried about the creatures in all the worlds. What if the heaven-burying emperor runs out again and destroys other worlds? Aren't you leaving yet?" Li Yun glanced at Shang Duxing and said softly. He had nothing to say about Shang Duxing. At a young age, this man has already reached the peak of the quasi-emperor. No matter from every point of view, he is an absolute genius. There is no "it's embarrassing to give the son of luck 4 words. But as the son of luck, due to the short rise time, he has not defeated the villain boss, which is a slight loss. Overall, his impression of Shang Duxing is pretty good. Because, as the son of destiny in the Blood Demon realm, Shang Duxing obviously has the heart of a holy mother. He is a kind of protagonist who is more like a holy mother. His behavior is considered from the perspective of all heavens and worlds. This is considered a strange thing in the world of cultivation. Most of the cultivators are after my death. Regardless of the raging floods, as long as they can increase their strength, they can do anything. People with such a bottom line are rare. For this reason, he is not exclusive to Shang Duxing. He is also happy that there is such a person who, after rising, can spare no effort to maintain the Tianyuan world. Before he takes action, Shang Duxing jumps out first. Invisibly, it can help him save a lot of trouble. Yes. The juniors resigned. Shang Duxing was helpless. After sighing, he bowed his hands and saluted, then turned and left, sending Shang Duxing and others away. Li Yun withdrew his gaze and waved his palm again. In front of him, a young figure appeared and said the silk was naturally scattered, and there were still many wounds on the body. Although there was no sound and it looked like death, its body still exuded a thrilling power. Like a demon lord, it contained blood as strong as the sea. And strong vitality. System, modify Zhangtian's memory. Li Yun said calmly. It's a pity to kill the burial emperor, but like Ling Xiao, it's still good to distort the memory and become a chess piece in his hands. In the future, whoever I don't like will be out of favor of Tianji Tower. It's hard to take action. But the heaven-burying emperor can be completely replaced. After all, the burying heaven emperor is a ruthless person who buries a whole world. No one dares to stop whoever he wants to destroy. As long as the true immortal doesn't take action, the burying heaven emperor is in the imperial realm. Absolutely no rival. Ding. The memory of the buried emperor was successfully modified. A clear voice came. System, use the method used on Ling Xiao again on Zhang Tian. Li Yun still felt uneasy, and said something in his heart again. Although the system is omniscient and omnipotent, if you use more methods, you can feel more at ease. With an extra layer of insurance, the Emperor Zhongtian will be more honest in the future. After all, the Emperor Zhangtian is different from Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao is a righteous sect, while the Emperor Zhangtian is a person who does whatever it takes to achieve his goals. The two are not the same at all. Ding. According to the host's instructions, the burial emperor was given a slave mark, stripped of his soul, made a master-servant contract, and placed bloodline restrictions on him, etc. System, you have so many tricks up your sleeve. Li Yun sighed with emotion. He took a closer look from top to bottom. He saw that the zombie emperor had been planted with countless means without knowing it. As long as he was willing, there were countless ways to make him the burial emperor disappeared without a sound. The system is speechless. Li Yun closed the system panel with a wave of his hand. He glanced at the zombie emperor, came to the door of Tianji building, and took a look at the list floating in the void outside. With the strength of Emperor Zombie, if there were an emperor list, I think he would be on it. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 325. Maybe. The Imperial Soldier ranking can also be released. Li Yun rubbed his chin with his palm and murmured to himself. In the past, the great emperor was the top combat power. People like this usually didn't care about anything and lived in seclusion behind the scenes. They were either thinking about how to extend their lifespan or how to leave the current situation. The world. No matter which one, it is for oneself to become stronger and go further. Now, the world level of Tianyuan world has jumped. Even ordinary practitioners can find that the concentration of spiritual energy has increased by several levels. As strong men at the emperor level, they feel more intuitively. The most obvious point is that the lifespan that was originally depleted has become full again. On the basis of the original million years, it has at least nearly doubled. In this way, as soon as he came, the emperor who had exhausted his lifespan was suddenly able to wander around again. This also led to the number of emperors in the Tianyuan world and Zixuan world suddenly increasing, and some restricted areas began to move from behind the scenes. In front of the stage. After all, the attitude of Li Yun, the owner of Tianji building, is already very clear. He just wants to integrate the worlds. In the next time, the world levels of Tianyuan world and Zixuan will slowly move forward. Go up and up. At this time, if you don't come out to grab the territory, the world level will be improved in the future, and they, the great emperors, may only be able to live in the 1/3 of an acre of their own restricted area. In the past years, the restricted area did not set foot in the world, and there is no one to worship the subordinate forces, and they do not need any cultivation resources. After all, they are going to die. All they think about is how to extend their lives. Having subordinate forces is of little use, and they have no intention to manage. But now, the road ahead has been taken up by the master of Tianji, and they have the motivation to move forward. The demand for resources has increased all of a sudden, and they have no resources to practice. Even the emperor cannot bear it. Just by swallowing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, this speed it is as slow as a tortoise crawling, and it is estimated that it can suffocate people to death, especially the great emperor, who has been practicing in seclusion for tens of thousands of years, and it is possible to stay in the same state. These old monsters pop up one by one. The importance of the emperor list. It goes without saying. As for the imperial soldier ranking, maybe we can get a few more spots. Li Yun thought in his heart. Imperial soldiers are different from great emperors. There are only a few great emperors. It is hard to decide whether there are 20 great emperors in Zixuan realm and Tianyuan realm combined. But imperial soldiers are different. Tianyuan realm in the world. Counting on your fingers, there are quite a lot of people with imperial weapons, especially the Golden Crow clan, the True Dragon clan, and the Golden Winged Dapen clan, etc. Among these enduring groups, more than 1 or 2 great emperors were born. Their tribe is extremely talented. They may only have one imperial scripture, but no one can tell how many imperial soldiers there are. After counting, some of the imperial soldiers buried in the tombs, just the imperial soldiers of the Tianyuan world, must be a huge number, even though their master is gone. But their weapons, after countless years, are still terrifyingly powerful. System, check the strength ranking of all the emperors in Tianyuan realm and Zixuan. Just the top 10 are enough. Correct. Li Yun seemed to have remembered something, and added again including the earthly immortal realm. No matter how you say it. Soon, he plans to bring the earthly immortal world over. The new list now excludes the earthly immortal world, which is a bit inappropriate. Ding. Among the 3 worlds, the search for the top 10 people with the greatest emperor strength was successful. First place, Buried Emperor. Race, Blood Demon Clan. Strength, Peak of the Great Emperor. Belonging to the world of Blood Catchers. Second place, Emperor Hades. Race, Fairy. Strength, Peak of the Great Emperor. Belonging to the world, earthly immortal world. Third place, Emperor Tai. Race, Fairy. Strength, Peak of the Great Emperor. Belonging to the world, earthly immortal world. Fourth place, belonging to the world, earthly immortal world. Ninth place, Emperor by Li Race, Bailey Clan. Strength, Peak of the Great Emperor. Belong to the world, Zixuanja. 10th place, Emperor Unai. Race, Hunyu Ancient Clan. Strength, Peak of the Great Emperor. Belong to the world, Zixuanja. 7 great emperors of the Earth Immortal Realm, 2 great emperors of the Purple Xian Realm, and 1 great emperor of the Blood Demon Realm. Li Yun glanced at the list, and the corners of his mouth kept twitching. Emotion. There is no one in the Tianyuan world. It has to be said that in the Tianyuan world, it is not just the previous generation that has failed to live up to expectations, even the previous generations have failed to live up to expectations, even though there is a great emperor. But it is obviously weaker among the same level. There were several restricted areas, and there were also a few ancient emperors, but in the end they couldn't even get on the emperor list. At least 2 people from Zixuanja also came up. Although it's at the end of the crane, it's still on the imperial list, isn't it? When we arrived at Tianyuan realm, the entire army was completely destroyed. It would be better to move the buried emperor to the Tianyuan realm. Li Yun pondered in his heart. Emperor Zhangtian is already his. Emperor Zhangtian will not have any objections to whatever he does. Furthermore, the blood demon world is gone. Emperor Zhang Tian and Shang Duxing are both homeless people. Sooner or later, they have to choose a new world and stay there. The Tianyuan world is their best destination. I thought about it for a long time. Li Yun sighed quietly. In the end, he did not erase the words Blood Demon Realm. He helped Tianyuan Realm open the back door, but anyone with a discerning eye could see it at a glance. Shang Duxing and Emperor Zhang Tian are homeless. But it may not necessarily join the Tianyuan world. He forcibly classified them into the Tianyuan world. Although no one would say anything, it would inevitably be suspected of favoritism, and it would not be a good thing for the Tianyuan world. If no one in my family can do anything, just let Tianji Tower open the back door, and all the creatures in Tianyuan realm will feel shameless. Let's take a look at the Imperial Army list. I hope that this time, the Tianyuan world can live up to expectations. Li Yun thought in his mind. The Tianyuan world was completely defeated by the characters of the previous generations. Going back further, all the way to the Ancestors era, let's rank the Imperial soldiers they left behind. If they still can't be on the list, then Li Yun himself has nothing to do. You can't modify their rankings. System. Li Yun called out in his heart and said, look up the three worlds of Earthly Immortal Realm, Tianyuan Realm, and Zixuan Realm. From ancient times to the present, all the surviving Imperial soldiers are here. List the top 100 most powerful Imperial weapons in these three worlds. After he finished speaking, Li Yun glanced at the Burial Emperor behind him. Although this person came from the Blood Demon Realm, his strength is rare throughout the past, present, and future. In the long history of the Tianyuan realm, there are probably no great emperors who can surpass him. Even if there are, they will be very few, not more than one or two. Based on this calculation, the emperor's imperial weapons are also extremely powerful. After all, they are close to immortal weapons. If they are used, definitely ranked among the best. It's a pity. Just now, the Emperor's imperial soldiers had been turned into secret points by him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 326. Ding. The Imperial Soldier ranking query successfully. First place, Immortal Killing Platform. The world it belongs to, Earthly Immortal World. Refiner, Taoist Zigzhu. Owner, Taoist Zigzhu. Second place, Six Paths of Reincarnation. The world it belongs to, Earthly Immortal World. Refiner, Emperor Hades. Owner, Hades Emperor. Third place, Demon Emperor Bel. World, Tianyuan World. Refiner, Ancient Emperor Jin Wuo. Owner, Golden Crow Clan. Fourth place, Pagoda Palace. The world it belongs to, Earthly Immortal World. Refiner, Owner. Fifth place, Sky Shattering Sword. The world it belongs to, Zixuan Realm. Refiner, Owner, none. 78th, Burial Tower. The world it belongs to, the Blood Demon Realm. Refiner, Buried Emperor. Owner, Zombie Emperor. 88th, Mountain and River Picture. World, Tianyuan World. Refiner, Ancient Emperor Taishu. Owner, Taishu Holy Land. Number 100, Fuiyun Mountain. The world it belongs to, Earthly Immortal World. Refiner, Ancient Emperor Fuiyun. Owner, Taizhang Elder of Fuiyun Mountain. Kill the Immortal Platform, Six Paths of Reincarnation. Inside the Tianji building. Li Yun murmured softly. The top two Imperial soldiers in the Earthly Immortal Realm, judging from their names, they have a big heart. The owner of the number 1 Immortal Killing Platform is Taoist Zigzhu. This person is the master of Yugzu Palace. It is no surprise to him that his weapons rank first. From ancient times to the present, most emperors, after becoming true immortals, will bring their own imperial soldiers with them to advance together. After all, as their right-hand man, the imperial soldiers have been fighting together for countless years. It is impossible to say that they have no feelings. Instead of refining them, it is better to improve the weapons in their hands. Because of this, there are very few true immortals who still hold the old imperial weapons in their hands. But this Taoist Zixu is obviously not like this. Although he has become an immortal, the immortal killing platform still remains, and he has not been promoted to the immortal weapon along with him. And the name Zhanxian has a lot of meaning. As for the second rank 6 paths of reincarnation, from these 4 words, it can be seen that the underworld emperor of the earthly immortal realm is playing a big game of chess with her emperor-level strength. The true 6 realms of reincarnation cannot appear in this world. But with this beginning, as long as she does not die, the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation will continue to increase in the future, and maybe it will be possible for the Hades Emperor to establish the 6 paths of reincarnation. Wait until the true 6 paths of reincarnation are born. There are probably very few people in the world who can fight with her. Then look down. When Li Yun saw the words Demon Emperor Bel, he nodded slightly. This time, Tianyuanjia did not disappoint him. The Demon Emperor Bel suddenly rushed to the 3rd position in the Imperial Soldier ranking, and the Golden Crow clan was fortunately not a royal family among the demon clans in the Tianyuan realm. Their clan-suppressing soldiers should not be underestimated. Maybe. When the Demon Emperor Bel was first born, its power was not considered top-notch among the Imperial soldiers, but after countless years of sacrifice by the Golden Crow clan, and the cultivation of several great emperors before and after it, his power can already be described as terrifying. After all, even if the great emperor of the Golden Crow clan becomes an emperor, he will occasionally go out with the Demon Emperor Bel. This imperial weapon is no longer just an imperial weapon. It also has a unique symbolic meaning for the demon clan, representing the glorious years of the demon clan in the past. In ancient times, as soon as the Demon King's bell came out, all races surrendered, and no one dared to compete with it. Before the rise of the human race, the Tianyuan realm had always been dominated by the Demon Clan, and as the royal family among the Demon Clan, the Golden Crow clan was even more noble. Naturally, the Demon Emperor Bel has become the spiritual symbol of the Demon Clan. Just the power of faith that gathers from all over the Tianyuan world every moment can refine the Demon Emperor Bel from top to bottom. Blessed by the power of endless faith, no one can tell how much power the Demon Emperor Bel has now. There is actually a burial place. Li Yun glanced at the Imperial Army list and saw a few familiar names at the back. There was a hint of surprise in the corner of his mouth, and he glanced at the burial emperor next to him as if nothing had happened. The most powerful weapon of the zombie emperor has been replaced by TNG points. If it is still there, I am afraid that he must have a place among the top 3. Unfortunately, it's gone now. But even so, the zombie emperor still occupies a place on the Imperial Army list. System. Li Yun arranged the 2 points lists together, waved his hand in the void, and said lightly, "Let's publish these 2 lists." The words fell to the ground. Outside the TNG tower, 10,000 rules fell down, and 2 ancient stone tablets, with a vicissitudes and mysterious atmosphere, cut through the void, descended from the sky, and settled on the void with a bang. Boom! There was a loud noise. The entire deserted city seemed to have been shaken by an earthquake. Countless people couldn't help but look up together. They saw, on top of many lists, there were 2 newly born lists, suppressing the void, and 1 an immortal aura flows, and every name above contains the spirit of looking down upon the heavens, making people intimidated. Emperor list. A strong man with a human body and an ox's head. His fur was shiny and satin-like. His body was thick and powerful. There was a pair of horns on his huge head. His eyes were wide open as he looked at the two new lists in the void. He murmured to himself, "This is the ranking of the top emperors in the four worlds of the earthly immortal realm, Tianyuan realm, Zixuan realm, and Blood Demon realm. Maybe not." At this time, an old man walked out. He had a thin appearance and clear eyes. He was dressed in wide robes, with a hunting sound, and his whole body was filled with a holy aura. No one could stand within a 3-foot radius of him. The old man stroking his beard with his hand, he looked up at the list in the sky and said softly, "Among the four worlds, there should be no Blood Demon realm. After all, the Blood Demon realm is gone. It's just that the senior poster helped the Burial Emperor retain his status in the Blood Demon realm." Well, that's not right. How can I see that there is no great emperor from our Tianyuan realm on this emperor list? At this time, more people discovered that something was wrong. There were only 10 places on the emperor list. The zombie emperor of the Blood Demon realm occupied the first place, followed closely by the 7 emperors of the Earth Immortal realm, and then there are 2 great emperors of the Zixuan realm. As for the great emperors of the Tianyuan realm, there is none. It seems there really isn't. Is this fake? Our Tianyuan world has been glorious for hundreds of millions of years, with great emperors emerging one after another. Every few 100,000 years, several great emperors will be born. After countless years of accumulation, how is it possible that not even one great emperor can make the list? That's it for the earthly immortal realm. What's going on with the Burial Emperor and the Zixuan realm? Senior TNG poster, you must have made a mistake this time, right? Could it be that some great emperors from Tianyuan realm were missed? Haha, are you questioning the reputation of TNG Tower? Don't you think that the appearance of the Burial Emperor of the Blood Demon realm is very strange? Just now, the Tianyuan world has experienced the crisis of annihilation, and the Burial Emperor has appeared on the back foot. Maybe there is some hidden secret in this. There was a lot of chatter among the crowd. Many people from all races in the Tianyuan world are filled with indignation at the ranking on the emperor list. They really cannot accept the fact that there is not a single great emperor in their world on the list. But when the last sentence came out, the scene suddenly fell silent. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 327. Burial Emperor? The world of blood demons. Many people realized it later. On weekdays, these 4 words may not mean much. But now it seems that there is a big problem here. A person who ranks first on the emperor's list. Needless to say, his strength. It is definitely an unprecedented figure who looks down upon the past, present, and future. Such a person can definitely destroy a world. In connection with it, I heard what someone said before. It seems the emperor who wants to destroy the Tianyuan realm really comes from the Blood Demon realm. Could it be that the emperor who took action against the Tianyuan realm before was the burying emperor? Everyone took a deep breath. An emperor's list actually led to such a huge behind-the-scenes mastermind. This is really shocking. Everyone present showed shock. It's no wonder that the buried emperor would take action against the Tianyuan realm. It turns out that except for the senior TNG building master, the Tianyuan realm is so weak that no emperor can step on the god list. In the crowd, there was an old saint with magic power like a sea of stars, a terrifying aura, a vertical pupil growing between his eyebrows, and a cold light bursting out when he opened and closed it. He sneered and said in a cold voice, "It's a creature from the purple mystic realm." Here in Tianyuan realm, many people's faces turned dark when they heard this. Aren't the 2 great emperors of Zixuan realm also at the rear of the crane? Someone said coldly. That is much stronger than Tianyuan realm. The old saint sneered, his voice was like an ice knife scraping bones, making people shudder. After saying that, he cupped his hands towards the Tianji Tower, then glanced at everyone present, and said with pride, if the senior building master hadn't come up with the emperor list. I'm afraid that the countless creatures in the Zixuan realm don't even know that Emperor Baili is still alive. Emperor Baili became emperor millions of years ago, swept away all his peers, and suppressed figures of an era. If it weren't for the limitations of the world, he would have become a supreme immortal. Now that millions of years have passed and the world's level has improved, I'm afraid it won't be long before our Zixuan realm will have an additional true immortal. By that time, hey. The old saint glanced at everyone with a sinister look. Many of the saint-level beings were very angry and wanted to kill them on the spot. But after thinking that this was Dawang City, he could only suppress the killing in his heart. Meaning, Senior Qi may have missed Emperor Yunai. Someone else from Zixuan realm added. This is a figure from the same era as Emperor Tiankai. The difference between the two is only 100,000 years. He can be regarded as an emperor on both sides. He is the first of the four great emperors in Zixuan realm today. Only, Emperor Yunai doesn't show up often, so many people believe that there are only 3 emperors who are active in the Zixuan realm. If not for the birth of Emperor Bang, probably no one would have thought that Emperor Yunai, who had only been emperor for less than 1,000,000 years, had already reached the pinnacle of the emperor, even in the earthly immortal world. It's also good enough to be among the best. This talent, this qualification, and this strength have undoubtedly made many creatures in the purple mysterious realm feel proud. Although the emperor list has just been released. Less than a quarter of an hour. But many thoughtful people have already guessed the true function of the emperor list. That is becoming an immortal. For those who are on the list, there is no doubt that their chances of becoming immortals are much higher than those of other great emperors. At least, the 10 great emperors above are already at the peak of their strength. Anyone who takes it out will be a person who suppresses the world. If he stamps his feet, the whole world will tremble. With a ray of eyes, he can even destroy countless star fields. This is a golden age belonging to the Zixuan realm. If 1 or even 2 true immortals can be born in the Zixuan realm, perhaps the earthly immortal realm will not dare to act rashly. A creature from the purple mystic realm said with emotion. Characters like the true immortal are an extremely important combat force. They don't need too many, just 1 or 2 are enough. With such a terrifying person in charge, once a war breaks out in the immortal world, we must consider the devastating disaster that a true immortal can cause. Good. The saint named Qi who spoke just now nodded slightly, stood with his hands behind his back, and said lightly. The rise of Zixuan realm has become unstoppable. But in the Tianyuan world, there is no great emperor on the list. I have reason to suspect that there may not even be a person at the peak of the emperor in the Tianyuan world. Many creatures in the Tianyuan world became furious when they heard this sentence. The anger in my heart kept rising. From the beginning of the war between the two realms, although the Tianyuan realm had a slight upper hand, the Zixuan realm suffered setbacks at every turn. On the surface, it seemed that the Tianyuan realm might be stronger. But as Tianji Tower lists emerged one after another, the weaknesses of the Tianyuan world were exposed bit by bit. Except for the Tianjiao list, Tianyuanja seems to be overwhelmed by Zixuanja in every list. If Tianji Tower is located in Zixuan realm, I'm afraid that the Tianyuan world has reached a critical moment of life and death. What happened to me? The old saint smiled disdainfully, glanced at the person next to him, raised his hand to indicate the list, and said softly, don't you forget, the number 1 on the emperor list is the burying emperor. As soon as these 4 words came out, the place fell into silence again. If nothing unexpected happened, the burying emperor was the one who wanted to bury the Tianyuan world before. This person is ranked first on the emperor list. We can know that he is not dead. The owner of Tianji did not choose to kill him. Since he is still alive, it means that he is a potential threat. Once it breaks out, Except for the action of Zhenxian or the owner of Tianji, almost no one can check and balance him. Even if he is also ranked on the emperor list. It is estimated that 1 or 2 characters will not be of much use if they stand up. At least 3 or more can defeat them. But with this number of characters, it seems that there is no other world that can be brought out except the earthly immortal world. The earthly immortal world can be brought out, but people don't need it at all. Because there are immortals in the earth immortal realm. If Emperor Zhang Tian dares to jump like this in the earthly immortal realm, a real immortal will probably take action and kill him with a slap. As for the other 2 worlds, any one of them is against Zhang Tian Emperor. Emperor Tian is in a dead end. But now, if nothing goes wrong, Emperor Zombie is still in the Tianyuan world. This existence is like a time bomb. No one knows when it will be detonated. Once it explodes, say it may affect the whole world again. You may have forgotten. At this time, in the crowd, a man wearing a jade crown and robe looked sideways at the creatures from the purple mysterious realm, and said quietly, Senior Master Tianji, since you have ranked the creatures from the earthly immortal realm on the list, you didn't just rank them for us to see. The old saint frowned and said coldly, what do you mean? It doesn't mean anything, it's just literal. The man wearing the jade crown was so relieved that he chuckled and said the relationship between the earthly immortal realm and the Zixuan realm is not very good. It is said that many creatures from the earthly immortal realm have perished in the Zixuan realm. Our Tianyuan world has the threat of the buried emperor. How can you, the Zixuan world, sit back and relax? Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 328. Earthly Immortal Realm. These 3 words are like a huge stone. Although only some geniuses have come to this world for the time being, and their true world strength has not yet been revealed, according to some rumors in the earthly immortal world. In addition, judging from the list released by Tianji Tower now, the name of the earthly immortal realm is worthy of its name. Once they cross the border, the first one to bear the brunt is the Zixuan realm. Even though Emperor Bai Li and Emperor Yunai are in charge of their world, they are still in danger of destruction. If you don't become an emperor, you will be an ant after all. Same reason. If you don't become a true immortal, in the eyes of immortal level people, you will be no different from an ant. As powerful as the buried emperor, isn't he also under the hands of the master of Tianji Tower and has no power to resist? What they don't know is, Li Yun's realm is no longer an ordinary true immortal figure. Fellow Taoists said it right. In the Tianyuan world, other human races echoed, if the senior poster has compiled a list that is only for the creatures of the Zixuan world and the Tianyuan world, why bother adding people from the earthly immortal world? Since the senior poster has listed the creatures from the earthly immortal realm, I think that not long after, the earthly immortal realm will also cross over. As soon as these words came out, many creatures in the Zixuan realm looked unhappy. Some people with terrifying strength knew a lot of things. In the earthly immortal realm, many people had died in the hands of the major forces in the Zixuan realm. In their hands. Even. Some forces in the Zixuan realm are greedy for the good things in the hands of the creatures in the earthly immortal realm. They do not hesitate to come to the Tianji Tower to buy information. In this way, the people in the earthly immortal realm have nowhere to escape. As the saying goes, a strong dragon cannot suppress a local snake. What's more, the earth immortal realm is now cut off from the Zixuan realm. They are not even considered powerful dragons now. Nowadays, there are probably only some people with relatively big origins in the earth immortal realm who are still alive. I heard that even Yu Yangjian of the Void Palace was hunted down. If it weren't for his many tricks and the protection of the Quasi-Emperor, Yangjian might have completely fallen by now. After all, Yangjian has a great background, and he also got good things in the inheritance of the true immortal, and the treasure moved with the hearts of the people. Even some big forces cannot sit still. The earthly immortal realm has suffered such heavy losses, and most of them are young geniuses. If they cross over and look good, then there is something wrong with them. It is rumored that Yang Jian of Yugzu Palace is being hunted by Zixuan realm. This is not true. Tianyuan world. One of the supreme elders of the Holy Sun said while stroking his beard. As a holy land, it naturally has a lot of energy. Now that the Zixuan realm and Tianyuan realm are connected, there is no obstacle to the exchange of information. A lot of news from the Zixuan realm has already reached Tianyuan realm. I also heard some. The Supreme Elder of Ziwei Holy Land nodded, with a faint smile on his face, and continued. I heard that many saint kings under Yang Jian, in order to stop the powerful enemy, self-destruct one after another, and died together with the enemy. And he, under the protection of a quasi-emperor, escaped to Tianyuan realm, and now he does not know where he is. The old saint from the Zixuan realm had an ashen complexion, his eyes narrowed slightly, and there was a hint of cold light. His energy and blood rumbled, as terrifying as a hidden dragon awakening. Just now they were creatures from the Zixuan realm, and now they are seeing the jokes from the Tianyuan realm. How long has it been? It has become a joke that Tianyuan realm will watch Zixuan realm again. It's predictable. Once Yang Jian and others cross the border of the universe, the Holy Land will immediately come to the Tianyuan realm to support them. At that time, it will be difficult for the forces in the Zixuan realm to kill someone in the Tianyuan realm. If the Tianyuan realm side takes advantage of the situation and provokes, once the creatures from the earthly immortal realm come over, the Zixuan realm will be in danger. Nowadays, Yang Jian and others have been completely offended. It is almost impossible for them to fight against each other. In the earthly and immortal world, they are also the most trusted figures. How does it fit with your character to go back without revenge after suffering a loss? For the sake of the reputation of Yugzu Palace, they have to fight tooth for tooth, eye for eye. How angry! The Supreme Elder of Ziwei Holy Land did not take it seriously. He looked up at the list above and said with a chuckle, this Yugzu Palace is not simple. I heard that their ancestor is a supreme true immortal. Now, the number one imperial soldier on the list of imperial soldiers seems to be from Yugzu Palace. Tisk tisk, this is a strong enemy. I don't know if Zixuanja can block his anger. Yes. There were other Holy Land elders beside him, and they echoed. The Emperor's weapon ranked first in the Emperor's weapon list is called the Immortal Slaying Platform. It's hard to say whether it can really kill the immortal. However, it may not be a big problem to kill several great emperors from the Zixuan realm. The second-ranked imperial soldier also belongs to the earthly immortal realm. The Supreme Elder of the Purple Myrtle Holy Land glanced at the nearby creatures in the Purple Mystic Realm and said narrowly, although I don't know much about the 6 paths of reincarnation, I think it is an imperial weapon with great power. I don't know if your sky-shattering sword, ranked 5th in the Zixuan realm, can block it. Oh! The Supreme Elder of the Ziwei Holy Land slapped his forehead, as if he thought of something, and said jokingly, the senior poster has already said that there is no owner of the sky-shattering sword yet. Could it be that the only imperial soldier in your Zixuan realm who ranks among the top 10 imperial soldiers has not been born yet? These words. After hearing these words, many creatures in the Zixuan realm were immediately angry. 1 Buddha was born, and 2 Buddhas ascended to heaven. But they could not refute it. The reputation of the sky-shaking sword, and its status in the Zixuan realm, were just like the demon Emperor Bel has the same status in the Tianyuan world. The only difference is that the demon Emperor Bel has always existed since ancient times and has never been lost. It also comes out from time to time to refresh its presence. For example, destroy the blood demon. When they were a clan, the Golden Crow clan had used the demon Emperor Bel and the demon summoning banner to summon hundreds of millions of demon clans to conquer the blood demon clan. But looking at the Zhentian sword, this was different. After hundreds of millions of years, The Zhentian sword, the refiner of the sword, has been unable to be verified. If it were not for the appearance of the imperial weapon list of Tianji Tower, they would not even know who refined this sword. Over the countless years, this imperial sword passed through the hands of several great emperors. It fell in Zhentian. The emperor under the sword is unknown, but every time he appears in the world, it will automatically disappear in the long river of time soon. Because of this, the sky-shattering sword is covered with a layer of mystery. No one knows it. When was it born? I don't even know where the sky-shattering sword is. Although this emperor's sword ranks 5th on the imperial weapon list, it is nothing to the purple Xian realm. If you want to find the whereabouts of this emperor's sword, you can't find it. There are some guesses in the minds of the creatures in Shaozai Suanja, that is, they have to go to Tianji Tower. And the price of finding this sword. Many people's hearts are bleeding. Judging from the past style of the owner of Tianji, he needs at least one imperial weapon to start, right? They are both imperial weapons, but whether they can be ranked on the imperial weapon list are two extremes, let alone the sky-shattering sword, which is ranked 5th on the imperial weapon list. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 329. Don't be too proud in the Tianyuan world. The old saint snorted coldly and said in a cold voice, there are many great emperors in the Zixuan realm, and there are 2 more great emperors on the emperor list. They are not comparable to a dead thing of the emperor's soldiers. If Emperor Bai Li and Emperor Yunai are willing, it may not be long before the sky-shattering sword will reappear in the world. That is. The old saint's words attracted the echo of other creatures from the purple mysterious realm. If the sky-shattering sword appears in this world, it will inevitably have to compete with the demon Emperor Bel. I want to wait and see whether it is the sky-shattering sword that ranks 5th on the imperial weapon ranking, which is better, or whether it is the demonic Emperor Bel that ranks 3rd on the imperial weapon ranking and is superior to everyone. The imperial weapon is the imperial weapon after all. Since it is a weapon, the key to which is stronger or weaker is not it, but depends on whose hands it is in. If the demon Emperor Bel is shattered in the future. We have also heard about the demon Emperor Bel in the Tianyuan realm, but it is just an imperial soldier of the Golden Crow clan. In terms of offensive power, it may not be as good as the sky-shattering sword. In the purple mysterious world, many creatures were talking about it. Between words, he didn't seem to care about the demon Emperor Bel. They didn't dare to question the Emperor's weapon list, but it was okay to question the Tianyuan realm's combat power. After all, they couldn't even find a person at the peak of the Emperor's rank. If the demon Emperor Bel was in the hands of the Golden Crow ancestor, they really wouldn't be worried at all. After all, there are 2 great emperors in their Zixuan realm who are on the Emperor list. If it can be combined with the Zhentian sword, the power is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. To defeat a Golden Crow ancestor who has just become emperor, in their view, it is simply a matter of hands. It would be even better if the demon Emperor Bel could be snatched away. Ranked 3rd on the imperial soldier list. As long as you are a cultivator, you are still very greedy. You are too confident. In the crowd, a man with golden hair, a stern face, and the true fire of the sun flowing all over his body stood. He had his hands on his back, and there was amazing power in the air. He was like a young demon emperor, looking around in all directions. The soldiers of our Jinwu clan who suppress the clan are also worthy of your comment. The eyes of the second prince of Golden Crow were like cold lightning. Wherever he passed, no one dared to look at him. The aura of the young Supreme Master was undoubtedly revealed. He is the crown prince of the Golden Crow clan, and seems to be the second prince. This person is ranked 38th on the Tianyuan realm's prodigy list, and 16th on the Monster clan's prodigy list. It is said that it was originally ranked 18th, but in a short period of time, it rose by 2 places. It turned out to be him. This person is very powerful and his potential cannot be underestimated. He may be on the list of geniuses in all realms in the future. Many people are saying that he is very likely to be ranked 501st on the list of geniuses from all realms. No wonder, people from the Zixuan realm dare to underestimate the imperial soldiers of the Golden Crow clan. As the second prince of the Golden Crow clan, how can he not stand up? Everyone in Zixuan realm was shocked. To the opposite. On the side of Tianyuan realm, they are extremely excited and unmatched by anything else. However, in terms of the prowess combat power, they can crush each other. A second prince of Jinwu said unceremoniously. Able to hang up and hammer most of the geniuses of Zixuan realm. Is there anyone in the Zixuan realm who dares to fight me? The second prince Jinwu spoke, his voice was very strong and cold, like the sound of gold and iron, echoing in the crowd, making everyone who heard these words couldn't help but change their expressions. People had to marvel, the second prince Jinwu, the prince is so powerful. He is not provoking a certain force in the Zixuan realm, but declaring war on the younger generation of the entire Zixuan realm. But it is a pity that most of the creatures from the Zixuan realm who came to Dawang City are members of the older generation, and they cannot possibly fight against them. Even if they defeat the second prince of the Golden Crow, their face will be tarnished. There is a greater chance that they will be ridiculed. Arrogant. The old saint in Zixuan realm snorted coldly and said, in my Zixuan realm, the geniuses who are on the list of geniuses are not here. If there is one person here, how can I tolerate your arrogance? Is it? The second prince Jinwu sneered, his hair flying and his robes rustling. He said confidently, in the Zixuan world, all the geniuses are just local chickens and dogs. Not worth mentioning. As for the sky-shattering sword. The second prince of the Golden Crow glanced at the list of imperial soldiers in the sky and sneered, is the 5th-ranked imperial soldier worthy of being compared with the 3rd-ranked imperial soldier? Presumptuous. Be bold. You little beast, you're looking for death. Many people in Zixuan world stood up and drank loudly. This is the first time for them to see such an arrogant junior. The imperial soldiers list has just been released, and they have yet to see any of the imperial soldiers listed on the list collide. But the second prince of the Golden Crow directly made a bold statement that the sky-shattering sword was not as good as the demon Emperor Bell. This is naked hatred. This approach is indeed in line with the style of the Golden Crow clan. After all, they are used to being arrogant and dominate the Tianyuan world. Now the two worlds are merging. The Golden Crow clan is still a giant. Even if he said that, no one could do anything to him. After all, this is the Tianyuan world. And the land under your feet belongs to Dawang City. There are many saints in the Zixuan realm with ferocious faces, bulging veins, and a pair of eyes that are almost ready to spit fire. They stare at the second prince of the Golden Crow, wishing to crush him to ashes. In their minds, the shocking sky sword was synonymous with power and invincibility. Now being insulted, every creature in the purple Xian realm feels that their face is dull. Do you want to take action? The second prince of Jinwu had a lot of free time. He was not afraid at all. Instead, he took a step forward and said coldly, don't forget that this is the Tianyuan world, and it is also the place where the senior master of Tianji building has his pure cultivation. Who dares to be so presumptuous? As soon as the words fell, behind the second prince of the Golden Crow, an old man stepped forward. The aura of the great sage level escaped and enveloped all the creatures in the purple mystic realm. The terrifying pressure and the oppressive void were distorting. Although there was no he took action, but the pressure alone made a group of saints look pale and found it difficult to breathe. Originally, I came here today to ask the senior poster to deduce an opportunity, but I never thought that the birth of the Emperor's list and the Emperor's weapon list would happen. The second prince of the Golden Crow looked at the 2-point list in the sky and said softly. Since this sky-shattering sword from the purple mystic realm has no owner, it might as well belong to our Golden Crow clan. You dare? The old saint of Zixuan realm was shaking with anger. He knew that the words of the second prince of Jinwu were not a joke. The Jinwu clan has the strength and the confidence. They have inherited it for countless years and have a profound foundation. It is not difficult to find the whereabouts of the sky-shaking sword. All you need to do is pay a certain price and let the owner of Tianji do some calculations. If the sky-shaking sword falls into the hands of the Golden Crow clan, they couldn't imagine that scene. This is tantamount to a slap on the face of every creature in the Zixuan realm. Fantasy, me. Create a secret building at the beginning. Author, Mavericks Flying. Chapter 330. Why don't I dare? The second prince of the Golden Crow has been cultivating for many years. His eyebrows are shining, and his powerful soul power is surging. Behind him is a golden crow flying across the sky, looking down at the world. He is so precious. The ancestor of our clan has just become emperor and has not yet refined the emperor's weapons. Now he still lacks a handy weapon. This sky-shattering sword is just right. The second prince of the Golden Crow said eloquently. Before he finished speaking, he turned around and walked towards the Tianji Tower, saying as he walked, when the Zhentian sword falls into the hands of my Jinwu clan, I will tell you the difference between the Zhentian sword and the Demon Emperor Bell. Which one is strong and which one is weak? How unreasonable. The old saint was furious, with a cold flash in his eyes, and the hunting clothes and robes were stirring. There were several times when he almost couldn't suppress the murderous intention in his heart. Fortunately, at the last moment, he endured it. Once he took action, there was no need for Tianji Tower to take the initiative, and I'm afraid that the people around him would take action. The strong men in Tianyuan realm will kill him immediately. At that time, his death will be in vain. The two worlds, Zixuan realm and Tianyuan realm, have reached a tacit agreement. That is, no action is allowed in Dawang City. Any action is allowed. If one party takes action, the people who die are worthless. The forces behind them don't even dare to fart, they can only hold their noses and admit it. Right now, in the entire desert city, there are countless saint kings and great saints. Watching him, once he shows signs of taking action, the next moment, he may be on the road to death. The sky-shaking sword must not fall into the hands of the Golden Crow clan. The old saint clenched his teeth and squeezed out a few words with difficulty. He turned his skinny palm, and a jade slip appeared in his palm, and he quickly conveyed a message to the power behind him. At the same time, there were not a few creatures in the Zixuan realm who did this. In almost half an hour, the news of the emergence of the Emperor ranking and the Emperor weapon ranking was like a hurricane, sweeping through the entire Tianyuan realm and the Zixuan realm. Not only all major forces, and even some casual cultivators, have begun to learn the contents of the two lists. After all, this kind of news is not top secret. It will spread easily. After the news is spread back to Zixuan realm, many powerful among the forces, there are terrifying figures who walked out of the secluded place. Each of them had great energy and blood and a majestic figure. They rushed to the Tianji building as soon as they appeared. The sky-shaking sword is the imperial weapon of the Purple Xian realm. Absolutely, they cannot live in the Tianyuan world. Same thing. There is also a struggle within the Zixuan world over who will own the sky-shattering sword in the end. Such a mysterious imperial weapon, no matter which force gets it, will be a huge enhancement. Because of this, every representative of a powerful force is racing against time, fearing that they will fall behind others and be the first to take away the sky-shattering sword. At the same time, Zixuan realm. Among the imperial clan, the back mountain cracked and the heaven and earth shook violently. Boom! Cracks that seemed to penetrate all the heavens and worlds spread in the void, emitting a mysterious glow. The laws were intertwined, making the entire void no longer stable. It seemed like it would explode in the next second. Inside the Imperial clan, when countless creatures felt this aura, they were not surprised but overjoyed. They all immediately fell to their knees on the ground and shouted, "Welcome the ancestor out of seclusion." The sound was like a mountain torrent, shaking the world. It turned into a torrent, sweeping in all directions, turning the clouds in the sky into powder. Every creature of the Imperial clan looked eagerly at the crack in space, with a fanatical expression on their faces. They knew in their hearts that that was the secluded place of their ancestors. In the past, the ancestors' aura dissipated. Many people speculate that their ancestor may not be in the clan, or may have even passed away. Until just now, they suddenly understood when the Emperor list of Tianji Tower was released. My ancestor has never left or even passed away. Instead, his strength has greatly increased and he has reached the 10th position on the Emperor list. Although there are only 10 places on the Emperor list. But that's not important. Even if he is ranked 10th, he is enough to be proud of his peers. After all, this Emperor list is not limited to Zixuan realm, but also includes Tianyuan realm, Earth Immortal realm, and Blood Demon realm. In 4 worlds. What an honor it is for our ancestor to be ranked among the top 10 among the great emperors. To put it bluntly, this kind of honor is billions of times more powerful than that of a junior genius who steps onto the genius list. After all, one represents the future. One represents the present. The importance of the future emperor and the current emperor is clear at a glance. More importantly, there are rumors from the outside world that the creatures who have stepped onto the emperor's list have a great chance of becoming immortals in the future. If my ancestor is really lucky enough to become an immortal, every creature in the Hunyu Emperor clan could no longer calm down. From now on, the 4 words Hunyu Emperor clan will be renamed, Hunyu Immortal clan. This name has never appeared before in their Zixuan world. Maybe their tribe will be the first to try it. No matter where you go from now on, don't you have to be a guest? Boom. The crack in space shook again. In the far sky, immortal light filled the sky, true dragons soared into the sky, immortal phoenixes circled, and Suanwu opened the way, strips of auspicious colors, stripes of divine brilliance, paved a golden avenue. A majestic figure with disheveled hair is walking on it. It's like walking from another space. Under his feet, the light of the Dao flashed and turned into thunder from the 9 heavens. Both heaven and earth rained down extraordinary spectacles for him, acknowledging his supreme Dao fruit, which was rare in all ages. Throughout the ages, few people have seen this scene. Tread. Emperor Yunai stepped forward and descended into the Zixuan realm. At this time, there was an emperor's aura permeating the heaven and earth, shaking the 9 heavens above and frightening the 9 netherworlds below. All things have spirits and must surrender, as if they were a supreme god. He dominates the will of heaven and earth, and the avenue drops down countless brilliance, one by one, like a waterfall hanging from the sky, surrounding this gorgeous body. The descendants of the tribe, pay homage to our ancestors. The descendants of the tribe, pay homage to our ancestors. The descendants of the tribe, pay homage to our ancestors. Among the Hunyu Emperor clan, the boundless sound rose into the sky again, shocking the entire star field. Countless creatures turned their heads to look here with a look of horror on their faces. The front foot Emperor Bang, the Emperor Soldier Bang was born. Emperor Yunai appeared on the back foot, and it was hard not to think about it. The characters on the Emperor's list came out of seclusion at this critical moment, either to become an immortal, for the sky-shaking sword, or for the earthly immortal realm. Other than that, nothing is possible. Get up. Emperor Yunai has a majestic figure, standing in the void, surrounded by chaotic mist, with only a pair of eyes exposed, very deep, like a sea of stars, bottomless. After millions of years, will the rumored sky-shaking sword appear again? Emperor Yunai looked at the starry sky, his eyes penetrated hundreds of millions of miles, crossing the borders of the universe, as if he saw the great desert city in the hinterland of Tianyuan realm.